Bring her to me. Welcome to the Story King, where every tale holds power. The Alpha King's wineglass shattered against the marble floor. Not from anger, not from carelessness, but because his hand had gone completely slack the moment he saw her asterisk through the towering windows of the throne room. A small Omega girl twirling with a mop in the courtyard below, completely unaware that she was dancing directly in the line of sight of the most dangerous predator in the realm. Bring her to me. King Thorne's voice cut through the silence like a blade through silk. His beater, Marcus, froze mid-sentence about border disputes. Your Majesty, the Omega, dancing in the courtyard. Bring her to me. Each word dropped like a stone into still water, creating ripples of tension that spread through every council member present. Marcus's eyes widened as he followed his king's gaze. There, among the ancient stone columns and perfectly manicured gardens, a slight figure in a worn cleaning uniform moved with unconscious grace, her mop swaying as she hummed a melody they couldn't hear. Her movements were fluid, natural, like water finding its path downhill. Now, Thorne added, his golden eyes never leaving the girl. The Alpha King hadn't moved for anyone in 5 years. Not since the tragedy. 20 minutes earlier, Leela had always danced when she was alone. It was the only time she felt free, when she could pretend she wasn't the lowest ranked Omega in the palace, wasn't the orphan girl who scrubbed floors for her meals, wasn't invisible to everyone who mattered. The morning sun painted the courtyard in shades of amber and gold, and the stone was still cool beneath her bare feet. She'd removed her worn shoes to feel the smooth marble, and the sensation made her want to move. The mop became her partner, the bucket of soapy water her audience, and for just a few precious moments, she was somewhere else entirely. She didn't know about the council meeting happening 40 feet above her. She didn't know about the floor-to-ceiling windows. She didn't know that the Alpha King, the one they called the Ice Wolf, the one who hadn't smiled since his family died, the one whose mere presence made grown alphas whimper, was watching her every movement with an intensity that made his beater nervous. She just danced, humming an old lullaby her mother had sung before the fever took her. Present. You can't be serious, Marcus whispered, though he was already moving toward the door. You didn't question a direct order from Thorne Blackwood. Not if you valued your position. Not if you valued your life. Deadly serious. Thorne's jaw was set, a muscle ticking near his temple, the only sign of the storm brewing beneath his controlled exterior. And Marcus, be gentle. She looks. He paused, searching for the word. Fragile. The other council members exchanged glances. In 5 years, King Thorne had been many things: ruthless, brilliant, cold, fair, terrifying. But gentle, that word had died with his younger sister. What was so special about one Omega servant? Leela was wringing out her mop when she heard the footsteps, multiple sets, moving with military precision. Her heart lurched. She knew that sound. Palace guards. She'd done something wrong. She must have. They didn't come for Omegas unless there was trouble. Frantically, she scanned the courtyard. Had she damaged something? Forgotten to clean an area? Offended someone without realizing? You there? A deep voice called. She turned to find the beater himself, Marcus Steele, approaching with 4 guards. Her blood turned to ice. The beater never dealt with servants. Never. Why yes, sir. She dropped into a clumsy curtsy, nearly falling over her bucket. Her hands trembled. Marcus's expression was carefully neutral, but something flickered in his eyes. Was it pity? The king requests your presence. Immediately, the world tilted. The king, Alpha King Thorne. I don't understand. I haven't done anything, I swear. Her voice cracked. You're not in trouble, Marcus said, softer now. He could scent her terror, sharp and acrid in the morning air. But we need to go. Now. Her legs didn't want to work. The king. Stories about him whispered through the servant quarters like ghost tales. He'd killed 12 rogues with his bare hands when they attacked a pack village. He could break a man's neck with one hand. His eyes could freeze your blood in your veins. He never showed mercy, and he wanted to see her. I can't, my shoes, she stammered, looking at her bare feet. No time, one of the guards said, not unkindly. Come as you are. They led her through the palace, and she left wet footprints on the pristine floors, still clutching her mop like a lifeline until Marcus gently pried it from her white-knuckled grip. Servants pressed themselves against walls as they passed, their eyes wide. Everyone knew where this procession was headed. The throne room doors loomed before her, massive oak carved with wolves in various poses of power. She could hear her heart pounding in her ears. The doors opened. The throne room was exactly as intimidating as she'd imagined. Soaring ceilings, ancient tapestries, the throne itself carved from a single piece of black marble. And there, standing before those massive windows with his back to her, was a figure that radiated power like heat from a forge. Alpha King Thorne Blackwood. He was taller than she'd expected, broader through the shoulders. His dark hair was slightly too long, touching his collar. He wore simple black clothing, but it fit him like it had been designed to emphasize every dangerous line of his body. "Leave us," he said without turning around. His voice was deeper than the ocean, and it vibrated through her bones. "Your Majesty," Marcus began. "Leave us." The room emptied in seconds. The doors closed with a sound like a coffin lid. Leela stood frozen, her bare feet cold on the marble, her cleaning uniform still damp with soap water. She wanted to run. Every instinct screamed at her to submit, to prostrate herself, to make herself as small and non-threatening as possible. But then he turned around. His eyes met hers, and the world stopped. Golden. His eyes were molten gold, and they held something she'd never expected to see in the face of the ice wolf. Wonder. Thorne had seen many beautiful things in his 30 years. Sunrises over mountain peaks, the northern lights dancing in winter skies, ancient forests untouched by time. But nothing had ever struck him quite like this small omega with soap bubbles still clinging to her dark hair, staring at him with eyes the color of storm clouds, terrified, yes, but also defiant in a way that made something in his chest tighten painfully. She looked like she might bolt at any second, like a deer who'd wandered into a wolf's den. He needed to be careful. So damn careful. "What's your name?" he asked, gentling his voice as much as he could. It still came out rough, unused to softness. She swallowed hard. "Leela, Your Majesty." "Leela Thorne." "Thorne." His eyebrow rose. It was a common name, but the coincidence still struck him. "Just coincidence, sire. I'm nobody. Just an omega, a cleaning girl. I don't know why I'm here, but I swear I haven't done anything wrong. I work hard, I don't cause trouble, I..." "Breathe," he interrupted, taking one careful step toward her. She flinched but held her ground. "Brave little thing. You're not in trouble, Leela." "Then why?" She trailed off, clearly not daring to finish the question. He moved to a chair near the window, deliberately not the throne, which would tower over her, and sat, trying to make himself less imposing. It was harder than it should have been. He'd spent 5 years cultivating his dangerous reputation. "I saw you," he said simply, "dancing in the courtyard." Color flooded her cheeks, mortification replacing fear. "I'm so sorry, Your Majesty. I shouldn't have. I was supposed to be working, and I..." "You were beautiful." The words hung in the air between them like something fragile and precious. Leela blinked. Once, twice. What?" Thorne ran a hand through his hair, a gesture so unlike the controlled king that Marcus would have fallen over in shock. "My sister used to dance. Exactly like that, when she thought no one was watching." His voice roughened. "She died 5 years ago. Rogue attack. She was 16. Understanding dawned in those gray eyes, and with it, something that looked dangerously close to compassion. "I'm sorry for your loss, Your Majesty." "Everyone's sorry," he said, but without heat. "But no one mentions her anymore. They think it's too painful. But watching you, for the first time in 5 years, I remembered her smile instead of her screams." Leela took a small step forward, then seemed to catch herself. But it was enough, that tiny gesture of comfort toward an Alpha King who could destroy her with a thought. What was her name? She asked softly. Elena. He smiled, and it was sad and genuine and transforming. She would have liked you, I think. She always championed the underdogs. I'm definitely that, Leela said, a hint of wry humor breaking through her fear. Thorne stood, moving slowly so he wouldn't startle her, and walked to the windows. I have a proposition for you. Her heart rate kicked up again, he could hear it. A proposition. The palace has been missing something since Elena died. Joy, lightness, music. He turned to face her. I want you to dance for me. Not as a servant, as a companion, someone who can remind me that there's still beauty in the world. I don't understand, she whispered. I'm not explaining it well, he admitted. I haven't done this I haven't done anything like this ever. He took a breath. Leela, I'm asking if you'd be willing to stay in the palace. In quarters appropriate to your new station. You'd be under my protection. No one would dare harm you or treat you as lesser than. And sometimes, when the weight of the crown gets too heavy, you dance for me. And in exchange, she was no fool, despite her station. There was always an exchange. Safety, comfort, education, if you wanted, respect. He paused, and the knowledge that you're helping a broken king remember how to be human. It was the most honest thing he'd said to anyone in 5 years. Leela studied him, really studied him, seeing past the reputation to the man beneath. The grief he carried, the loneliness, the responsibility that bowed his shoulders. I'm nobody, she said finally. People will talk, they'll say terrible things, let them. His eyes flashed gold. I am the Alpha King. They'll say what I allow them to say, and nothing more. And if I refuse, then you return to your duties, and we forget this conversation ever happened. He would never force her. That wasn't who he was, despite what people believed. She bit her lip, thinking. Then, can I ask you something, Your Majesty? Thorne, he corrected. And yes, why me? There are dozens of dancers in the kingdom. Trained ones, beautiful ones. He moved closer, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to look at him. Close enough that she could see the flecks of amber in his golden eyes. Because you weren't dancing for an audience. You were dancing for yourself, for joy. That's rare in this world, Leela. And he stopped, surprised by his own honesty. I find I want to protect that. Want to be near it. Near you. It wasn't a declaration of love. It was too soon for that. But it was real, and raw, and more than he'd given anyone in years. Leela took a shaky breath. If I do this, if I stay, I won't just be your dancing doll. I'll speak my mind. I'll be myself. A real smile tugged at his lips. I wouldn't want you any other way. She extended her hand, small and soap-worn, toward his. Then I accept, Your Majesty. I mean, Thorne. When his larger hand enfolded hers, something clicked into place. The king and the omega. The wolf and the dancer. Two broken pieces that might, somehow, make each other whole. Outside the window, in the courtyard below, the morning sun continued to paint the stones in shades of gold. And for the first time in 5 years, the Alpha King felt something other than cold. Thank you for reading. Subscribe to the Story King for more tales that will capture your heart and imagination.